Surprise Synopsis.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Surprise Synopses.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yes, welcome. I'll get on mic. Hello and welcome to Surprise Synopses, the show where we take one random trope out of a hat, then each pick a genre out of the hat, and create for you a surprise synopses. Oh boy, we're just getting straight into it today. It's going to be great. With me, we have...
Alex?
And...
Harley. No.
And I'm Damien.
Wait, is this a rerun?
The fun we have.
I'm Damien.
Oh, shit, then I must be Harley. An existential crisis wrapped up like a man.
Like a burrito. I could go a burrito right now.
Anyone could go burrito. I could go burrito.
Burritos. Podcast is cancelled.
Yeah.
Burrito time.
And firstly, we have previously on Surprise Synopses is cancelled
Thank God.
What?
I mean, thank goodness.
after some viewer feedback. And this is a hint for you viewers and listeners. You can leave us feedback. We'll listen. We might even take it on board like this. Due to viewer and listener feedback, we've decided to shit can previously on, for now at least, and discuss the trope a little more before we get into it. So, if you're wondering who in the last episode we would cast, just assume some combination of Lindsay Lohan, Rupert Grint, James Masters, anyone from Riverdale, Kieran Shipka, and...
Leno Woodley.
There we go. That's everything cast.
Harley was pointing at me.
It took too long.
None of my suggestions have got in there. That's because I don't know anyone. Shit.
Yeah, me either. It was like, yeah, that wasn't my strong suit. Naming people's names.
Literally anyone from Riverdale.
Yep, that's one of the options.
Literally anyone from the television box.
Is Rove McManus still available?
All right. And the trope is...
Here is the Captain Man with your tropey pack.
And the trope
Emerges.
is...
Our trope is alternative history nightmare.
Alternative history nightmare.
This is a good one to start on talking about what the fuck that means.
So, what the fuck
Who
does
wrote
that mean?
Alternative history nightmare.
This sounds like something you would write, Damien.
I think I did write this one.
Little shocker.
So my favorite alternative history nightmare going on right now is The Man in the High Castle. Have you seen Man in the High Castle?
No. Is that if the Nazis won?
Yeah. So
Ooh.
the show is basically if the Nazis got the atomic bombs instead of the Allies, what happens? And what happens is they win the war and they occupy America and most of it, and the Western states Pacific states are owned by the Japanese Empire. So those are the two superpowers rather than the United States and the Soviet Union.
Oh, wow.
And it's set in the 60s. So the war's been over for 20 years. So everyone's just used to it. There's just swastikas everywhere, and it's everyone's just getting along.
Everyone's white with blonde hair.
Everyone's just Nazis or works for the Yakuza, and this is the new normal.
Oh,
And it's just it's just an interesting kind of like world, but also like the Nazis won. And
So it's not necessarily someone's nightmare.
no, like a nightmare scenario.
Okay. So we're going alternative history, but if it went bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other stuff like that? I can't think of.
I was going to say I've been rewatching the anime Code Geass with my sister, which is basically, aside from all the anime stuff like giant fighting robots, it starts with what if England crushed the Napoleonic Wars and then just didn't stop. So it starts in like 2010 with them invading Japan and winning the war in a week, and shit goes on from there. So kind of alternate history, but up to 11 and change.
That's kind of cool as well that it's like not from a Western.
Yeah.
It's like from the Japanese.
Yeah, it's definitely from the Japanese perspective.
Perspective, that's the word.
Here we go. POV, point of view.
Thank you.
Alternative history nightmare is also like sometimes seen inside movies and shows. So Back to the Future Part 2, right?
About to say
so
that.
he accidentally leaves the time machine by itself, and the bad guy, who's an old man at this stage because they're in the future, hijacks it for a bit and takes it for a spin. You don't know what he changed, but when we get back to 1985, which is the kind of middle timeline, it's like it's all gone wrong, and it's an alternative alternative history nightmare. So everything's just on its head and people are dead and it's just like the town's gone to shit and it's terrible. So the thing that drives the plot is they have to figure out what happened. So the guy from the future went back to like the kind of 1955, which is the earliest of the three time bits, and change something there, and they have to go there and find out what it was and fix it, but not interfere with the work they've already done.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for Back to the Future 2, if you haven't watched it, it's Biff Tannen. He goes back to 1955 and gives himself the sports almanac.
I think we're okay for spoilers alert, given that we've now passed the future point that represented the movie.
I, for some reason, thought you were talking about Futurama, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But no, I got you.
You know
okay,
what
Back
else
to the Future
is an alternative history nightmare that's a really old film? I think maybe it's this might be the earliest one I can remember. It's A Wonderful Life.
Oh, really? Yeah, because what if I wasn't alive?
Yeah, because the guy, it's this story of this guy, and he's got all these like hopes and dreams, and he gradually just gets like kind of trapped in this small town. He has to like, he's going to leave, but then he like stays around to look after his mum or something, and he gets like trapped in this kind of like mundane life, and he has to give up his dreams one by one, and then he's like this, he looks after this bank, and he's being crushed by this financial pressure, and he's in a really bad way. And then he's going to go commit suicide, and this angel comes down, and he tells the angel, like, look, I would rather have been never born than live in this town, blah, blah, blah. And the angel's like, well, let's see what happens in a world where you were never born. Like, let's see how you like that, dickhead. And he shows him, and it is just, like, a nightmare. Like, it's just, everything is worse. Like, the bad guy overrun the town, and, like, everyone's marriages are bad, and cats and dogs are living together, and carrots are raining from the skies, and like there's fish Satan like running in the streets, and it's an actual nightmare. And then he's just like, I don't want that at all, Angel. Can you make a better timeline or put me back in my original kind of shitty but not as bad as this timeline? And the Angel's like, that one.
Well, he really turns
that's a
into a
morale
tragic
booster.
Figure, doesn't he? Because then he's like, he kind of has to persist in his shitty existence. Otherwise, everyone else's life gets much worse.
He's a real Prometheus figure, that one.
Yeah.
But, like, he already got to that point. He could have killed himself. Like, he did.
Oh, he's already saved the town?
He was born, yeah. Kill yourself now, you're done. Good job. Clean your hands off.
Wow.
You're done.
I think we all learned wildly different lessons.
I haven't
It's a
seen
wonderful
it.
life.
Is it a wonderful life, question mark, says Alex.
The wonderful life is over. They're fine. They got their marriages sorted out. The dogs are not fucking the cats, whatever you said. Kill yourself.
So life is just a to-do list, and once you ticked off the last item, you can just check out.
Yeah, well, you don't know what the last item is, but like when you think your grocery list is done, you're done.
You just take it to the checkout.
Yeah, just self-serve, and then you pretend to scan the chicken. You go boop, and the cheese because that's also expensive, and then you buy the grapes.
Just like to remind viewers that Alex is a vegetarian. So presumably she's wasting this chicken that she's stealing.
I feed other people. Like when I cook the meal for people, like if I don't force them to eat vegetarian food. Like Alex is pretty much a fucking carnivore. Like I've never seen him eat a vegetable. Well, that's a lie. He eats everything like a vacuum.
Alex.
Anyway, moving on.
What just happened?
So like, there's more people in this world with my name.
That Alex is very, very generous with the vegetarianism. And Damien, do you feed people vegetarian stuff only? Do you feed your cats?
No, my cat eats meat.
Okay. Yeah, my dog eats meat.
Oh, Billy bless.
Kangaroo and beef mixed together because she likes her. She also likes her meat a little bit cooked. She doesn't like raw meat.
You spoil her. Too good to that dog. Can anyone else think of any alternative history nightmares?
No, you took Back to the Future 2, which is going to be my other one.
All I can think of is in Deadpool 2, which I recently watched. At the end of it, he like makes jokes about killing Hitler, and then they go back with the
all the Deadpool time travel shenanigans.
Yeah, and he's like gonna kill. He kills like all the bad people, and he like goes back and he's like ready to kill Hitler, but he's like, I'm gonna go call the guy. He loves killing dead like babies and stuff, but they don't actually show what happens.
Yeah, I think
that's the only thing I can think of.
Deleted scene in. I've got a reverse example. Sometimes you learn by contrast.
Alternative history Dreamtime?
Yeah, there's an episode of Family Guy, a show I do not like and do not find funny, where Peter travels back in time like 10 years, but it's what happened if he never met Lois, and Al Gore won the 2000 American election, and it turns out America's doing amazing in that timeline. Yeah.
I guess I just don't like George Bush.
Who does?
That reminds me of, do you guys remember when Trump got elected?
Is this about lasers?
Well, it's not
Come on
about
now.
lasers, but and like all the psychics were like, no, we predicted Hillary to do it. Like all the psychics were like, yeah. I just found that really funny, and everyone was like, that means we're in a new like dimension. Like we've shifted like time travel. Like
Yeah,
our-
Alex, is it your birthday? Because I got you a present. Here, it is.
I love talking about conspiracy theories, so that was not a
Your
birthday
conspiracy
present
theory
at all.
began
I
with
like-
a bunch of psychics said X.
That wasn't conspiracy. I just thought that was funny that it was like they're like
No, that was conspiracy fact. A bunch of psychics did say something.
yeah. Well, first time for everything. Conspiracy
often
theory
do.
based on something.
And then he shot lasers at them.
Yeah. Pew pew pew.
I mean, some
Psychics.
conspiracy theories are real. The CIA invented hippies.
CIA did some real fucked up shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn Africa. I don't want to talk about that because I will not talk.
Like killed
not stop
Tupac.
talking.
Am I right?
Tupac's still alive.
No.
He's in
Third
Argentina.
alternate theory.
Alternative history nightmare. Tupac survived,
Yeah.
but his music was really sellouty and
Oh,
terrible.
no. Okay,
And
that's
he,
a
like,
funnier version than I was
He
gonna
went
say.
Elvis.
Hey.
Rap died, and then like no one fought against the man anymore. Like,
Yeah. Rage Against the Machine was renamed to be like comply with the machine.
Oilers of the machine.
All bow to the machine.
Oilers.
This machine assists fascists.
All right. Did you type off one of those little running sheet, boys?
Oh, Christ, no.
Okay. Well, then you can start.
Oh, shit. I've been bamboozled, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm getting my fingers right up in there. I got to select a good one. You got to know when it's fresh and ripe.
That's
Ooh.
what he said.
And my alternative history nightmare is upside down and back to front. War.
That's,
So this is going to be easy.
you just got
Alright.
handball.
All right. So
Deuce.
what if a war happened, but the other person's won?
But it's not
Wow.
allowed to be Nazis
Boom.
because I just covered that.
the Civil War in America and like the
The
still
South
slaves?
one. All right. So the challenge here is to pick a war. Firstly, I'm bad at history because the only history my high school covered was World War II, and like one book on World War One.
The Polynesian contact with the English
You've
explorers.
already lost me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think the Civil War's easy. There was literally just a
All
war.
right. Okay.
And if the other side won, there would still be slaves. Would be the biggest thing.
I'm going to go in a completely different direction. And as Australians, I feel like you're going to follow me here.
Emu War.
Yes.
Yes.
We're going, what if
Oh.
Australia won the Emu War?
If they won, which is pretty sad. Because
So,
really,
for
the
anyone
emus won,
too-
so the
too-
emus should be running everything right
Too
now.
soon. No, but it's the opposite, right?
Yeah, but the emus did win, so they should
So-
be running everything.
So maybe if they lost. Well,
So
anyway, let's
let's
Yeah.
find
Harley,
out.
let's
What could
find out
possibly
together.
happen?
So if you're not Australian, you don't know about this, but it was in the 1800s, I think. There was a bunch of emus running amok someplace, and so the problem got bad enough that there was just like, all right, army, you're not doing anything at the moment, go and sort it out. But the thing about firing machine guns into flocks of raging emus is there's a lot more of them than there are bullets, and they just make them mad, because it's really hard to take down a 500 kilo, however big ostriches are.
There probably
emus.
is an emu, not an
Yeah.
ostrich, but I'd say about that.
So even though we suffered no casualties, it's listed...
I thought someone did die.
Oh, maybe. Okay, I haven't read the Wikipedia. It's been
Yeah.
too soon.
I have read the Wikipedia, but I don't recall how many human casualties there
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of belligerence, we had fewer casualties.
There
at
was
the
at
very
least one human who died, and there was a
Right.
fair few emus that died, but they still won.
So it essentially ended in the Australian Army retreating and calling off the whole endeavour. So the emus are listed as winning the Emu War. So
What if no humans did die? And I kind of hope someone did. Like, I hope someone like, but like in a really funny way, like an emu like got around Emily Light and just like pecked him in the head, and he's like, bleh.
I think Alex is allowed to say that because anyone that was fighting in the Emu War is going to be long since dead of old age anyway, right?
So technically, they've all died from that war.
So they've all died. So she's just changing the way in which they died. She's not wishing
but
more
you're
people
also
were dead
altering
currently.
unless someone did die in that war, you're altering their timeline.
Yeah, I'm
so
sorry,
you're wishing
Mr.
death anywhere between 1 and 80 years, let's say.
Hey,
before
this is
their time.
your alternate history nightmare.
Well,
not
it
ours.
isn't yet. We're still in the preamble.
All right. Emu War, good choice. Go on.
All right, so we open on the final battle of the Emu War, and Oh,
There was more than one, was there? Was it? Did this?
Well, there was a couple engagements, I believe.
The
but
emu general stares down at the plains.
and it is
Bork,
a giant stare off between an emu, and just because this is my movie, and this is going to be a twinge of comedy because this is inherently ridiculous.
Is it a one camera video thing?
A one shot.
It's not a one shot yet. We'll save that for later. The emus are all standing in V formation, just like the thousands of emus.
The flying V. Yep.
Yeah. And the Australian Army is in whatever regimented, organisational system.
Also a V.
Back then. They're in a V, but they're in a parallel direction, ready to receive the V.
Receive the V.
I was
the V
thinking
in
the
your
same
V.
thing, but that's not really a euphemism you can pull out of there.
Yeah,
is it?
so one's a blade and one's a chevron.
Yes.
Yep.
So they're coupling properly.
Yep.
And where we sent... Damien's doing hand gestures.
It's
I think
fine.
we should draw a picture for
I'm
Alex.
sure this won't be too important for me.
And we eventually settle down on, someone who's in the army but not like in a position of commanding. They're like Joseph Gillette. If anyone gets that, I'll be surprised.
And then he later creates a razor and a
Is he the best
pen.
man can get?
Is he? I don't know.
His face is very well
Gillette,
shaven.
like the shaving thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
What
so
did you think?
so Raymond Joseph Teller is the full name of Teller from Penn and Teller, and Penn's surname is Gillette.
Gillette, yeah.
So Joseph Gillette, because I was really struggling with the name.
Is he going to be a magician?
Are we going to talk about this for a long time?
I'm going to desperately try and keep this on track. So Joseph is, there, and there's a big battle scene, except this time the Australian Army crushes it. Like, Joseph's a war hero, does some war
Is Joseph
hero-y things. He's got that sort of look where he's a bit in the rough at the moment, but you think he'd scrub up nice.
Okay, I'd watch it.
And, an emu tears off his shirt and he's got a six-pack.
To be clear, the emu tears off Joseph's shirt, not tears off its own shirt.
They've got
there's
their
a
own little machine guns.
Underneath their little feathers, they've got six packs. That would be so concerning.
So what happens is the Australian Army wins, but Joseph is consumed in a pile of emu corpses and is so left behind. Mm-hmm. And the Australian Army goes and celebrates as a parade through town. There's everything. But then just as we're really patting ourselves on the back for this one, even though this is we should have just won. This is not hard. We cut back to Joseph's pulling himself out of the piles. But then there's still emus around and they're sort of pecking at their friends, seeing who survived, who's not.
Yeah.
And then they eventually take Joseph war prisoner.
Oh.
So it's
Uh-oh.
it's one of those things where it's kind of funny because the inherent weirdness and strangeness of the absurdity of the situation.
Yep.
But they're also acting in a pretty scary way. Like, say there's another guy who is also alive, and he's like, I'm not going to be taken prisoner by a bunch of emus, and then they just peck him straight through his chest. And so Joseph's like, okay, you seem to be in charge here, and follows along. And then they get back to wherever it is, emu's nest, and there's 100 other war prisoners.
They've got a concentration camp.
Just like Australia does today.
Yeah, back off emus. That's our thing.
And Joseph starts to find out that, the emus are mad that they lost. Straight up, they're not going to forget this.
Angry emus.
So they're starting to do drills and marching drills and doing that thing where they all take 2 steps, bayonet a dummy, and then take 2 steps back or whatever.
Is their bayoneting just strong forward pecking?
Yes, absolutely. And Joseph's like, this is fucking weird. But then he gets deeper into the camp and they're like, there's some, Australia had a bunch of East Asian immigrants from the gold rush in the mid 1800s, right?
Yep.
This is just going to lean on a stereotype here. There's a gold digger who's teaching them some ancient martial art. So you can do some emus doing jumping talon slashes and stuff.
Probably crane stance, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Nice. I'd high five you, but you're too far away. And the further he goes into the camp, the worse this just keeps getting, but in comically... This is sort of a comedy horror sort of thing, I guess, at this point.
Well, when you started with the emu war, I didn't expect it to be super serious.
Well, all my other stuff is super serious. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck it, let's
No,
go
comedy's
comedy.
good.
So, but then he gets further in until he sees Emu standing in front of a chalkboard, and they're like drawing battle lines and doing troop movements and stuff.
Yeah, right.
But then, and so the story is then for the middle act, Joseph trying to get a band of brothers together to escape because they need to warn civilization that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a montage of them complying with the orders and then slowly scratching out, the means of escape. So he's also a mechanic in the army, right? Because we had cars in then. And
so are we Great Escaping or are we Planet of the Apesing?
All of the above.
I love it.
We're mixing metaphors.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, I'll help you emus fix up all these old jalopies or whatever we've got lying around. And so he helps them build their cars and attach armaments to them and stuff. But then he also pulls away a part from every car he works on. And so him and his close-knit of friends build a car out of all the spare parts they've got stashed away. And then there's a great fight scene as they escape. They do a sick jump, and then the emus are after them, and they have to bloodily get away, like a couple of his friends die,
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing.
So the emus really are the bad guys. Yeah, right.
One has a mustache.
He had the
really strong unibrow, like emus have.
Oh yeah, and he furrows the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So he escapes to the nearest civilization, which I don't know where the Emu War was fought. It's too soon to me
Probably
to go back and find out. Australia's somewhere in the middle. So he goes back and it's like the nearest town / army base. It's all there. And he's like, oh my God, do I have a fucking story for you? And they go through them and they just tell their story. Like we cut back from the, in different interview rooms and they're all telling the same story such that we can just intercut from like person A saying, and then they did X, and then person B saying, then they did Y. And so we build a complete picture of not just the things we've seen, but like we also tell about some other horrors that we didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, what the fuck are these emus doing? And of course, the army just goes, you guys are obviously dehydrated and suffering from outback madness.
Yep.
You're all getting medically discharged.
It's a real danger in Australia. Got the outback madness.
You're lucky you're getting medically discharged and not a polite bullet in the back. So.
Oh, rude.
I don't know.
Wow.
So, hung, that's what we used to do as Australian soldiers. That's right. Sorry, whatever. I didn't watch Breaking Ranch. And so obviously they go away and then the town just gets destroyed. Like, so they're on the last car out of this base and then the town is gone. Like, I mean, no witnesses, no survivors. It's a fucking massacre.
But all the bodies have arrows with like emu feathers coming out of the back, so it's like really obvious.
And so, yeah, it's like the Aboriginals don't use emu feathers for the bows and arrows. And then they get to the next big town over, except on the way they took whoever was driving their car hostage. I mean, like, look, we know you're cool and everything, but we've got a bigger fish to fry, so technically you're our prisoner now. And then he's like, no, you guys are all suffering from outback madness, so they just yeet him out of the car.
Yeet.
Yeah. The emus can have him. Should have believed him.
So they're on the run from the emu army and also their own army.
And the army.
Yeah, right.
And so they go to the next military installation and be like, you have to believe us. And the army's like, no, this is a bold-faced lie. I'm going to get Outpost Alpha on the thing right now. And then they call up on the radio system, Outpost Alpha, and it's like, squawk, 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 or whatever sound emus make.
Can we have a turncoat human? Like someone's like, no, this is like clearly false. I've been in contact with them the whole time. And you're like, you see some like emu dollars in his pocket, and you're like, well, no, this guy's on the take. He's in on it.
I wasn't going
emu dollars.
Emu dollars.
He's got a bunch of eggs.
Yeah, pay him in eggs.
They pay him in emu futures.
That's kind of grisly. Like have some
Pay
children.
them with their babies.
I wasn't going to suggest it because I did that in the body swap episode, but since you said it, I'm going to do it. Yes, he's in. And so the radio operator's like, nah, there's humans over there. But the general's just like, look, if we're going to kick these guys out, I want to be sure because we're diggers, dang it, even though that hasn't happened yet. So he's like, all right, and he gives them like a call and response sign, and the operator calls it in, but he doesn't know what the response is from that base's general. So then the good general realizes, shit, this guy's a turncoat. So they literally shake him upside down, and all these emu eggs fall out. He's, what has happened to you, Johnson? And Johnson's like, slash. And he just like slashes at the general with his nails, which are sharpened, but human nails don't get like that big or pointy. So he's like, ow, that mildly hurt. Arrest him. And so they arrest him. And then they go into a super serious...
Sorry, is he actually an emu in disguise now? Like,
no, but
how deep does this go?
He wants to be an emu so bad.
He wants to be an emu so bad.
All right. They call them feather brains.
And then the general's like, look, I don't really think this is cool, but we have to get ready for this emu war that's coming. And then we cut back to the town, and the emu's like running the town, all the barracks and everything. They got it to like peak efficiency.
Running the town?
Yes.
You got like emu mayor and...
Yeah, there's an emu mayor, there's an emu baker getting like bread out of the oven. There's an emu milkman delivering milk.
Delivering marsupial milk?
Yeah. They milk kangaroos or something, who knows?
Platypi.
Sure.
I mean, that's what they make at the bakery.
But they're also, because they're inhabiting all parts of the lives efficiently, they're also increasing their breeding cycle. So there's an uptick in emu populations. And you can just see, and then we get that cool one shot of the camera pulling back at the regiment at the barracks. And instead of like before where there was like a couple thousand emus, the camera just keeps pulling back and back. And it's like an endless, battalions.
It's been like
emus.
20 minutes. How the fuck did they make so many emus?
It's been like 2 days.
Okay, well, sorry. Jesus.
I like how you believe 2 days.
Yeah. I was being sarcastic with the okay.
Oh, okay. It sounded genuine to me.
The emu mayor just really got everyone like...
Yeah, it's like, wow, wow, what you... They grow
maybe he's
up
like called all the emus from all over Australia. Like,
okay,
it's just
yeah.
like the power
They
of, like,
released the massive emu zoo that we have. 1 billion emus.
Oh, they released all the emu prisoners that were at the barracks. Anyway, so the general is like, all right, we've got to do it. And then the general's lieutenant, that's a real thing, right? Mm-hmm. We finally cut to him, and it's plainly just an emu.
Like in a bad costume?
Yes.
Wearing the clothes.
But does everyone buy it?
And everyone except our main protagonist seems to be fine with it.
Yes.
And then the war preparations start to happen, and everyone keeps building up the war machines tick up. And then our heroes are on the bridge with the general, and they're giving them just all the info they can, all the intel. And so the war begins, there's bloody fighting, and it's 50-50. It could go either way. And so at this point, the lieutenant pulls out, what's an old-timey pistol? An old-timey pistol.
Yeah, a bangy McBanger.
And the general turns around and is like, my most trusted lieutenant. Because I trusted you to betray me, the emu pulls the trigger, except there's no bullets in it. And then the lieutenant just runs up and just fucking puts the emu through a table and just starts wailing on him. Like, who do you work for?
Despite that it's obviously
what the fuck is going on?
The emus.
Who do you work for? The wombats.
And with its dying breath, it says, Emu King.
Oh.
And then we cut back to the town and the emu war room, and it looks like the war room from Doctor Strangelove, because hell yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And we start to see this regal figure, this emu with a crown and golden chains. And its advisor's like, it's happened. Lieutenant is dead. And the king is like, very well, squawk, squawk. Unleash the robot, squawk, squawk.
The robots.
Yeah. And so what we didn't see that they've been building on is they've built together like a steampunk automaton.
Oh my god. We're not Planet of the Apesing. We're Wild Wild Westing.
Yeah, baby. And so the king personally pilots it.
No.
And then,
I'm glad you're into it, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
No, that's the point.
This is a movie for boys, clearly.
And then Joseph and co are like, all right, we thought we were out, but when
I forgot about Joseph.
just when we thought we were out, we're right back in. So the general gives them all the supplies they need, and they mount a commando mission to take down the steampunk automaton, which is also shaped like an emu.
Yeah, of course.
So they blow up one of its legs and it falls over, crushing some emu contingents. Mm-hmm. And then they hold up the head of the emu king, and all the emus are like, and they just stop fighting. Because, like, without that spirited leader pushing them towards a violent tomorrow, they're just sort of
They
leaderless.
just go back to eating grass and bugs.
Yeah, they just sort of peck at the ground a bit.
And just pretend. They're like, oh, no, we're chickens.
Eat some entrails.
Like, this wasn't us.
And so
Play dumb.
Yeah.
the sun sets on a victorious Australia. Because what if the emus won? What if Australia won the emu war? The emus would just get mad and over-militarize. So it's kind of like a future analogy for 1930s Germany.
It's like World War II, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we won World War One, but imposed such harsh conditions on the emus that they rose back up
But
again.
then there's like a little bit of a twist because World War II hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, one of the characters says, if emus could do this, ...
What of man?
And then the emu king's head does one last death squawk because, you know, this is a kind of bit of a horror movie. And then, you know, one of them just punts it like a football off screen.
Kind of like a horror.
I like the emu that was dressed like the guy, and no one could see it except the one character.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
That was funny.
All right, and that's my war history is bad.
Good war choice.
Yeah, so that was a thing.
Look, I'm happy with that.
Damien.
Yeah, that
was
worked very
really
well.
worried.
I don't know why you're so down on it.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like for a 25-minute pitch, it was. I listened.
Oh, thank you. That's a vast improvement.
War never changes.
Yeah.
Until it's against
Squawk,
emus.
squawk.
My alternative history nightmare. Am I going next?
Yeah, sure.
You
You
are
already picked
now.
your thing.
Yeah. My alternative history nightmare is a heist.
Ooh. I'm so in. Give me one ticket to the movie, please.
So I've
Here's $100.
I feel like this is really my genre because I don't have to explain to anyone why I'm using a historical setting, and you guys can't say shit.
Oh yeah, when we pulled the trope, I'm like, yeah.
I'm just going to write all of my tropes with the word history in there.
Yeah.
Period piece.
Alternate history, but the good guys won.
Historical murder. Historical sci-fi.
Historical figure brought to today, but yesterday.
What if Abraham Lincoln was today?
A vampire murderer, killer.
You already
hunter.
did
They did that one.
I know. It
I
wasn't
feel like that
good.
was one of our pitches that just went out of control and they made a movie of it.
Yeah, they're like,
just
we're done.
As loose, if not looser, than one of our pitches. It's an alternative history nightmare heist film. So I guess I have to pick what point in history has changed. I'm going to...
But also made things for the worse, right?
Yeah, it has to be for the worst, which means we're trying to make things better or we're stealing something that's like in supply. So I think my alternative history nightmare... Oh, no, it can't involve atomic bombs and Nazis and stuff because...
The Man in the High Castle.
The Man in the High Castle, I shouldn't have mentioned it.
The Damien speech is called The Woman in the Low Castle.
The Lowest Castle.
About how women overthrow 1950s Germany after it won World War II.
So I think my alternative history nightmare is going to be when the British... You know what? I'm just going to take that Polynesian idea that I took from you.
Sure. I don't even know what it was.
So my alternative history nightmare setting is that the British...
Polynesia.
Yep.
Woo.
So Captain Cook drives around in his boat.
He drives it.
As you do.
Yep.
You drive a boat.
And he's encountering all the Pacific Islands. And he's kind of giving them all like, hey, this is what we're about, and this is the British Empire, and blah, blah, blah. But the Polynesians, being excellent seafarers in this setting, are all in communication with each other and are comparing notes. And they're like, oh, man, this guy seems like pretty bad news, and he's getting around a lot. Like, he's sussing us out. So maybe we should just do him in. So when he gets speared in Hawaii, that's actually like the first move in an intricate chess game by the Polynesian League.
Oh, shit.
And they're like... They spear him, and then they start to dismantle his boat and kind of like kind of get the engineering and the specs and like work out like gunpowder.
So they reverse engineer.
Yeah. So they start this process, but there's like such good kind of like shipbuilders and seafarers that they've got a real knack for it, so they can get up to speed really quickly. So they start to kind of like build their own navy, and before you know it, the exploratory ships that are coming from Europe getting like done in by these Polynesian like kind of seafaring pirates that are like kind of got this like really large canoe style ships, but use like the British sails, and they've got some like jury-rigged cannons, and they're buying gunpowder from the Chinese navies, and what's the heist is, they're like, okay, well, we need some like kind of big gesture to like kind of put these guys to gain control of the situation.
Yep.
So the British Navy, in their desperation, because they're starting to like encroach on British naval territory, and they're actually becoming the emergent naval power. They're just kind of imposing their will on all the European powers, and they're blocking trade, and they're just becoming like their own kind of tyrannical regime. And they're like, all right, we need to steal the crown jewels of the King of Hawaii.
Bum, bum, bum.
So they send this British naval like special forces team, and they're all like. So it's like a kind of a mixed like commando, like Force 10 from Never Own style team.
Chops on those guys.
But they're all like Age of Sail. So I was like, this guy is excellent at climbing ropes and getting around the ships, and this guy is like a French free diver, and he can go under the ship, and this guy is like an excellent sword fighter, and we picked him up in Russia, and he's like the SARS fencing instructor, and so the European powers have like got together to get this crack team together.
The European powers.
Yeah. They're all in on it.
So I have a question quickly.
Yeah.
So do you think that them stealing the jewels off the king is just going to like break his spirit so much that they just stop?
They're going to ransom them back to be like, we need to like.
I'll be like, you can have your balls back if you...
because the crown, and maybe there's a thing about like his crown jewels and his like scepter and whatever, like represent his like regal authority. So it's gonna be real bad news for him. It's gonna be a real blow to his like power in the league of the Polynesian Islands if he loses them. Like he might lose face, and it might destabilize the unions and whatever. So I think that'll kind of bring balance.
And he's
back.
bald and he's embarrassed if he doesn't have his crown on.
Yeah. Well, like some people.
Wouldn't you, Alex?
It's a hard knock life,
Wouldn't you?
for sure. I'd wear hats.
Some people, find the bald look very appealing.
Okay, sure.
For that past trauma, please see episodes 8 or 9.
He said defensively. So the European powers have put together this League of Extraordinary Gentlemen-esque kind of team, and off they go. And they've like developed this kind of like steampunky type wooden submarine to like kind of get around, like this kind of early U-boat kind of invention to dive under the canoe patrols and get around it. And they've got like lots of like weird and wonderful gadgets, and they kind of engage in this like heist. And the Polynesian soldiers are all like the kind of everywhere, guarding everything, walking big patrols, and they have to kind of get around and across palm trees and stuff. So it's like real. It's a real like reversal of fortunes sort of thing. And the European powers like eventually, let's say that they kind of like execute the heist. Like you get there to they do a planning stage, and there's like it kind of shows you what their idea is, and they're going to cause a distraction, and then like they're going to burrow in, and one guy's going to like pretend to be one of the guards in a classic kind of heist movie type scenario. And then they start engaging in this heist, and then something goes terribly wrong. Let's say there's a dish of coconuts, and like as they're kind of like they've boosted the items, and they're on their way out, and then they like mistakenly like kick over a coconut, and it falls like clunk on the tile and clunk on the step, and just rolls like slowly, just rolls, and then like knocks over like a silver kind of palm frond designed like candlestick, which then like sets fire to a curtain, and it's like, oh god, we're sprung, and also there's a fire, which adds a sense of urgency. So they're kind of dashing around, and it's all gone wrong, and like, wait, hold, it's like, stop there, you're under arrest, and there's a pursuit, and it all goes really wrong, but then and they get caught, and they're like, oh my god, we're like, here we are with like our bundle sack of all the treasure goodies that we're going to steal, and then they open up the bundle, and it's not them. It's just
it's
like
coconuts.
It's coconuts. It's just more of the coconuts. And they're like, what the heckaroo is going on here?
You cursed fruit.
And they pull down their like masks that they're wearing, and it's just like some rubes that they like got, like some dudes that they were like found busking in Hawaii, and they like got to help them out. And they're like, wait a minute, you aren't the the Western mob of unlikely heroes that were sent here to.
You want a ragtag bunch of commandos?
Yeah. You're not them at all. And then it cuts to they're in a getaway canoe.
They pull off their masks.
Yeah, pull off their masks, and they unopen their own bundle, and it's the crown jewels, and they're like, yes, and now to put this in the British Museum.
Oh shit! Okay, all right. I see what you did there.
I didn't. What'd you do?
Oh, the British
Is
Museum.
it actually there?
British Museum is filled with stolen crap. So they're just
in addition to colonization, the English just stole a bunch of people's treasured artifacts and possessions and just put them on display.
That seems nice. Good on them.
Yeah,
love in England.
But then they go there, and because the reverse of fortune is the European powers are in a bad way. So yes, the British Museum, and it's like a sideshow at a carnival almost. It's a really shitty come see the treasures from the far Pacific.
It's early days.
Yeah. So it's the only good thing they've got because
but they have a ton of authentic shit. It's just a low rent attraction.
Yeah, and no one really cares about it, and they're
Yeah, they're like, we have a cup of water from as far as we could get to India, but then we got fought back.
Yeah.
King Kamehameha's crown.
So I guess this alternative nightmare, I guess posits the Polynesians as really tyrannical overlords, but
I don't think anyone looks good in this thing.
Yeah, no one comes out the good guy. But so, there we have it.
I guess it's what if colonization as a concept spread? And maybe the Polynesians are we'll do the English thing, but better than the English.
Yeah. If they took it as kind of an escalation, a cue to engage in a kind of a symmetrical war, and it took off.
No, everyone says aloha.
Yeah, what a terrifying future that holds. To be ruled by the laid-back princes of Hawaii.
We cut back to today, and someone's just like, aloha, and then says some more things in Hawaiian.
Fascist guards luauing down the street to the tyrannical beat of the
prisoners
ukulele.
are marched in chains. They put a band on them, but it's made of iron instead of flowers, and they sink to the ocean.
Yes, when they take them away in chains, it's two sets of lays, small lays that go around the cuffs. Take him to bamboo jail.
You can't escape because it grows back so quickly.
Yeah, it's real tough. You wouldn't think it. That's my alternative history. Nightmare Heist.
Cool.
I feel a bit sullied by having to do that.
I think the thing about alternative history is once you go through it, you start to get worried about what the larger implications of it are.
Yeah.
Colonization is a dangerous idea. Emus shouldn't be trusted in organized contingents. The broader strokes of what we're talking about are things to keep us up at night. Speaking of Alex, pick a point in history and tell us how it went worse.
When I was born. Couldn't get worse.
Oh, we should have done
Informational kids show.
All right.
Alternative history nightmare. Informational.
So is it a show about what would happen if someone won, or is it a kid show set in the alternate history?
I think it's going to be a kid show based in the alternative.
In the ultimate history?
The ultimate history.
Ultimate history.
Yeah, I guess. Fuck. Why can't I get
when velociraptors and gorillas got to fight each other? Yeah. Ultimate history.
I think it's not entirely a kid show. I'm going to say we start off with, and then I'll go into the movie, but I'll just talk about this bit. Mm-hmm. So it's like this is the setup to the movie to explain what happened and why everything that happens in the movie is it. So it's a little kid's watching TV show, sitting there watching the TV show, and it's explain what went wrong. So it's what's something we can talk about?
Yeah.
It's going to be that, who's the dude that created electricity? But not the one everyone's...
Alexander Graham
Tesla.
Bell?
No.
Clam Bell. Didn't he make phones?
No, okay. All right, let me just step right in. Okay, you're thinking of Alexander Graham Bell, who allegedly invented the telephone, except Marconi invented the telephone, except Marconi was using Tesla's patents. Tesla invented electricity
through the air?
As much as you care. That's where he was going. But Thomas Edison is the one who, using marketing and brute tactics and executing animals publicly, won, and I'm doing...
Was that with the elephant?
Yeah.
Sad.
As that documentary Bob's Burgers told us all about.
Or if you're not a shill for Tesla,
Oh,
Edison was the one that actually brought it to market, therefore making him the actual successful entrepreneur.
Sure, in a capitalistic society, he used money and brute tactics to win.
Is there any other kind?
But in a fair and balanced society, Tesla would have won because he had the superior technology.
Now who's talking about alternate history?
I know, I'm talking about alternating current, Damien, which is a superior to DC.
Nah, direct. Get straight there. It's faster current.
Oh, what's that transmission distance I hear? 50 centimeters. Oh, you're stretching it. AC, miles, baby. Kilometers even. Sorry, Alex, you were
Go on,
pitching.
Alex.
What? Oh, okay. So I'm
Thomas
thinking
Edison,
that the movie is that Tesla's type of power is what was created and used throughout. We'll say throughout America.
Yeah, Tesla won the current war instead of Edison.
So it's all just through the air sort of thing, and like things. So you can't pay for power. So how they decided to make money that governs and stuff is TVs and anything electronic was just super expensive, and it created this wage gap within the rich and the poor, and it made it more significant. So there's this sort of shift, and this is something that happened back in time, and we're in real time, we're now. So
far-flung consequences.
Yeah, and so it's a little bit
dystopian?
Separated. No, it's just what's that book that I read not very long ago where it's the really famous one, and it's Big Brother, and he's
1984.
Yeah, 1984. I was just thinking 1987. I'm it's the wrong date. 1984. You know how there's the two separate societies.
Yeah,
it's that. It's the rich just got richer because they had electricity and they could do stuff, and it's and if you couldn't afford a television or a kettle because it was just so expensive, ridiculously expensive, you just got poorer and poorer. And but there's random things like showers and stuff makeshift because they just build it, and you can wash random things.
So if you're really poor, you have a shower during the day when the sun's out to heat up the water.
Yeah, or something like that.
But if you're rich, you shower at night.
Yeah, or there's ovens, but it's handmade ovens, or in a house it's what we have now, but just a regular oven is that's a couple nearly $1 million, ridiculous shit like that. Yeah, that's how it's been monopolized. And so the informational kids show is talking about the power and how it's created and how it's sent through, and but in this really cute funny way but it's actually a really fucking fucked up concept, but it's talking about and the power can be anyone can use it, and going over how it's this amazing thing. And then throughout the movie you actually see how fucked up. So this kid's a really rich little kid watching this movie, and it's now everyone can have power, and if you have it, you don't have to be plugged into anything, it'll just work, and your phone will never die because it's always charging, and all this sort of stuff. And then you move into the movie, and it's it finds out that there is this really poor people, and this kid was maybe they get older and they see it and they save something. But that's should I do the rest of the movie, or should I just do the informational bit?
I mean, if you're using it as a through line / launching point, I think it'd be great to see where it ends up.
Yeah,
because you can always cut back to it as a contrast between what this kid sees life being according to the show versus how his life actually turns out.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so it keeps flicking back to the informational thing between scenes.
Yeah.
It'll show a section of the informational thing, and then you'll see a half an hour of movie or something. That's cool. All right, so it goes on about how amazing the power is, and they have this amazing life, and you see them getting set up into that. They get a bit older. And maybe they so they stay young, so they're 12 and they go to school, and it's them going into high school, and somehow a really smart kid, because it's still day, so they're we want the smart kids to get a better education, move out. So a few kids from the poor section, and it is segregated, they live here, we live here. They have come to this rich school because they got qualified as being really smart, and he becomes friends with one of them, and he through that person learns about stuff, so they don't know what a toaster is, that doesn't exist, things like that. They're but you can have Macca's exists because they're a conglomerate, so they eat heaps of food like that, but they can't cook anything at home.
McDonald's can afford the electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're happy idea. To buy companies can have electricity, but people don't.
Yeah, exactly. So they have light bulbs or something, or maybe that's something that they can steal, and it's cheap. but like a oven or a fridge.
Like people hang out at Macca's at night because they've got heating.
Yeah, exactly. Like things like that. All that sort of stuff is just insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Like, and through that, they've caused a bigger rift in like people.
Yeah.
And so he's like discovering all this stuff, and like McDonald's and like fast food, all that like doesn't exist for rich people because there's no need for it. They have their own chefs and like their stuff. And so like that, like McDonald's and like, like fast food, just all that sort of stuff is bigger in that sort of place that like that's only in the poor section. And so like he's like, and it's all like these amazing lights and like LED, like exactly how it is now. But then like all the houses around him are dead, and it's like all very like shanty houses and shit, like if we're in the third world, like built together with stuff. Because where are we going with this though? Yeah, and then like goes into the next informational thing, and it's like this allows you to like, you know, create more things and be more experimental, and it's safer and all this sort of stuff. But we're seeing like all these deaths occur because people are trying to make their own stuff.
Oh. Right, so there's like a hardcore inventor-maker culture on the outside because they're like, we're trying to bring the electricity to us.
Yeah, they're like, the electricity's free, we just need to create
We just need to get it out of the
stuff.
air.
Yeah. So like people try and make fridges and that sort of stuff, but there's like so many deaths around it and like kids dying and, you know, things like that. Like the gas leaks because they don't know what, nothing's safe.
It'd be kind of spooky if you didn't have many appliances, but there was just electricity freely available in the air.
Yeah.
It would be like actual magic, right? Like you'd just be like playing around with stuff and trying to harness it, and then like you just like things would just magically work. You'd be like, oh man, these copper coils really kind of attract the magic.
Yeah, I feel like as well, it's like now, like, do people in third world countries understand like the power we have here, or is it not understood to them, sort of thing? Like it's like they sort of like they have the idea, like, you know, in McDonald's they have televisions, they know it exists, they just don't have it at home.
They just haven't internalized the concepts.
Well, they know what it is, they just know they don't have it. I think they just know that they're thing, but also it's like this big, like it's the, you know, maybe the 20% are rich and like 80%, so they just they're like, we're just the normal. It's not normal to have all these stuff, it's normal to sleep in the dark, and like they still have really good quality stuff. I think that'd be kind of funny as well, like the bed's all there's just no power in it because like again, like the blanket companies can make it
power in it, it's super cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so everything like runs on like clockwork and stuff, right? Because you like mechanically that would be really easy to do and replace like a lot of things.
What do you mean?
Like instead of
instead of using electricity, they're steampunking vehicles together and stuff.
Yeah, well, I feel like with a car, to be, again, there's power in the air. So like only, again, the really, like cars are like ridiculous.
Like the rich people have Teslas and the poor people have a steam wagon.
Yeah, they have like
boiling
they have
water off burning wood is doable.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's nothing to do with power. I guess.
But I do like your assertion that like everyone has like 1,000 thread count sheets because there's no electricity in them, so they're just super cheap to make.
Yeah, exactly. It's like $2 for a sheet. It's like have all this really nice stuff, but then like the kitchens are empty, and the kid goes there and it's like so weird, and he's like, "This isn't like my house." Like,
so is it like a reverse Rumspringa sort of thing where, because Rumspringa is where like teenagers who grew up in what's the American thing where they don't use electricity?
Amish.
And so Rumspringa is when the kids go and live in the real world to see whether they want to commit to the Amish lifestyle or not. Is this like a reverse allegory for that? Like someone who has electricity learns to live an analog life? I
think it's less I think it's more of like, this doesn't have an ending in the sense of like something happens, but it's like more like seeing this kid going like, holy shit, like look at this other half of the life and like look what's become because of this one change in the world. Yeah. So like it sort of makes us think like, holy shit, what if that did happen? That could be us. So it's like this really rich kid, and at the start like we're the same thing, like wow, oh that's awesome, like wow, that's so positive, imagine if we got that too. And then we're discovering with him that holy shit, fuck no, like he's special, he didn't realize he was the rich group, like he, because it's like and then he's like sees this other society. And he's like, wow, like this isn't good. And like with him, we find out that, wow, there's all these negatives to this. Like we didn't necessarily get the bad end of what could have been. Yep. And I think it's just more that. It's like more just like it's like a what if, like,
yeah, like a
smoke some weed and like freak out sort of thing. Yeah, I think it's, not all movies have to have endings, as we know from all of yours.
Oh, bringing that episode 2 shape back. Brutal. My Emu War movie ended, I'll have you know.
Yeah, so it did end eventually.
So this kids show that you just pitched, is it like kind of bookended by like the informational kind of in and outs? Is that like how it's framed up?
Yeah, I think the whole thing isn't an informational kids show, but they frame like you going to the next step of the movie with sections of this informational kids show that he
to
watched.
kind of carry along the way.
Yeah, so you start with him watching it, and then he like moves through and do something else, and then like you do like a big scene change. There'll be another minute and a half of it, and then like continue in. So it's like this is what we're talking about now. We're framing it, so we don't have to waste 2 hours explaining it. We're just like framing this section, and then we like go into it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Very
and
nice.
I like want like really old school like crinkly noises, and it's like a weird cartoon that like goes like this and like points at things like.
Like a Steamboat Mickey.
Yeah, but like the like old school like voiceover on it that's like talking like remember Iron Man when it's like talking about the atomic bomb and
No.
Iron Man.
Are you thinking of
Iron Giant? I'm thinking of Iron Giant.
Okay, good, because I haven't seen the movie.
Iron Giant.
Yeah.
You have or haven't?
Have not.
Oh, it's the best. It's like have you seen Iron Giant? It's you got to get on
It's
it.
what if a gun had a soul and didn't like or want to be a gun?
Iron Giant, sort of,
well-
except it's not a gun. It's a big giant.
Yeah, it's a metaphor, Alex.
It's not a gun.
So it's more like what if a robot had a soul and didn't like being a
What if a
weapon.
killer robot
Yeah.
had a soul?
What
and
if it
like-
didn't want to do what it was made to do?
Yeah.
It's like, I stay, you go. No, you stay, I go. And then he shoots into the sky and then he explodes.
spoilers?
Yeah, I'm not going to watch the movie now. You spoiled it for me.
That doesn't even like
Spoilers at
help
the end.
you.
Got it. As you were talking, I remembered like this tiny little skit of alternate history nightmare informational kids show from I think The Simpsons, where it's like they're in the class and they're like, what would happen if zinc didn't exist? And it's kind of like It's a Wonderful World style thing where he's like, oh no, my car won't start. And now like this other appliance that needs zinc doesn't work. And he goes to kill himself and he pulls out a revolver and puts it to his temple and pulls the trigger, but it just clicks, which is really fucking dark for a Simpsons joke. Like that's just actually brutal. And then the guy is like, nah, even your revolver doesn't work because zinc doesn't exist, like dickhead. And then he's like, no. And then he like wakes up. He's still in like in the black and white kind of show. He wakes up and he's like, I was just a dream. Zinc, lovely zinc. And then it's like,
Starts licking it.
like that's zinc, children. So like that's how they teach them how zinc is good. Like, what if zinc didn't work?
That's actually a cool concept, though.
But like, why would they even build the gun in that universe? If it, like,
I think it was just suddenly it disappeared.
I was going to go with a really dark joke, like, he didn't even try to kill himself. He didn't even try that hard to kill himself. It's like he wanted the easy way out. Yeah, that's really not cool.
What?
Yeah. Because there's other methods of suicide that don't involve zinc. I'll have the zinc council
like
know.
cyanide or jumping in front of jumping off a really big bridge.
No.
That bridge, Alex, made of zinc.
Made of zinc.
The whole
Depends which
thing.
bridge. Maybe it's a wooden bridge. Google it.
Not
They
zinc
exist.
nails.
Or maybe London Bridge. It's rocks.
No, it fell down.
Not at this
No,
point in
zinc.
time.
London Bridge is falling down.
But it
Falling
hasn't.
down.
Well, maybe
falling
that's
down.
how they died. They knew and they sat and waited.
The long con suicide.
Alright.
Waiting for things to gradually erode out from under you.
If you need help, Beyond Blue's there if you're Australian, and you can Google it if you're not.
Yeah, geez, guys, take it to a dark place.
I didn't take it there. I joined in when we got there.
I just live there.
You live there.
I kind of like, in my head, I'm sort of patching your world a tiny bit, Alex, in that I feel like Tesla succeeded in his lifelong goal of making wireless power, but then he was like pushed off the bridge at the last moment by Edison, and that's why the world is hyper commercialized and only the rich can have it.
Yeah.
Because Edison dicked over the world again by commercializing the free power.
Yeah, I think it was like more like the companies or the government or something were like, well, where are we going to get the money from this? Like, let's
Yeah.
just way tax everything and like,
Yeah, damn inventors wanting to like monetize their creations. Jeez.
it's like even though we
Imagine
try
trying
and
to
help
sell
people,
a product that you made. Fucking hell.
idiots.
Just Harley will come at you with a zinkless gun.
I'll yeet it at them because that bitch be empty.
Skeet, yeets, all the same.
Bark, bark, I'm a shark. What a show. We did great, guys.
Okay.
So, that's been Surprise Synopses. If you like that, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, or I'll tell that friend that you don't really care about them.
And if you don't like it, do that as well.
Yeah. Share it anyway. What
Yeah.
are you scared?
If you don't like this, try another one.
There's several of them by now. You'll find one you like, or else your money back. All $0 of it.
If you don't like it, that's because you're dreaming, and this is a world where podcasts don't have zinc.
Oh. Woo!
But how did my microphones work?
Zing or zings?
Have
No
we not been
zingers.
recording this whole time? That would be a shame.
That'd be depressing. I would not come back. If we miss one, I'm like, we're done. I'm like, we're too far gone.
Like and subscribe. Send us a comment on the website, waterfallstories.com. There's a contact us thing. Comment on the Facebook page, on the YouTube link. There's a straw poll in the comments down below where you can vote on who had the best pitch. And it was definitely Harley this week. We all admit it.
Okay. So, definitely prize for longest pitch.
Most pitch.
Yeah.
Biggest pitch in show.
Most words in pitch.
I can be a bit of a wordy pitch.
And a bitch.
Resting pitch face.
It's a very long face. The end of BoJack Horseman is he walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Why such a long face?" Alex Gabbett's case notes is on the air. Alex is in it. Damien's in it. Also, I'm in it. It's a great
We're not
show.
in it yet, but we will be in it. And I assure you, I will try my medium.
I appreciate that. By the time people are hearing this, you will have been in it already.
You don't know that.
Time is such a fickle thing.
Who knows how bad I'll fuck it up. I might have to come back another time and try again.
I'm blind.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
We don't have time to fuck it up. Is that everything? Any other plugs? Anything?
Outro us.
Once again, find my Instagram. Not telling you what it is.
Has
I
anyone?
keep meaning to do that.
Try to find it.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Well, fuck you. All right,
Is it
outro us and
Billy
I'll...
the dog.
No, it's my name.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Emu noise.
Zinc noise.
I don't have a thing. Goodbay.
Way to ruin the team.
Whoa, it's future Harley. Thanks for listening to Surprise Synopses. Of course, it's the Victorian Crimes Act of 1958. Why do I always say 59? I know the answer. Meanwhile, in other things I also got wrong, the Emu War was 1932. Ha ha ha. Oh, that kind of makes the story I ended up telling a lot more poignant at the time. Really makes you think. Here's a fun conversation we had while we were warming up. Thanks for listening. I'm repositioning while I'm recording this outro. This was a bad idea. Okay, thanks, bye. Damien, I've got a great knock-knock joke, but you have to start. Go.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
It's me, your neighbor with lasagna.
Oh, what kind of lasagna?
Just kidding. It's a burglar.
Oh.
You're under arrest.
What?
Citizen's arrest.
Oh, no.
And now I can take your things. It doesn't matter. You'll be found innocent in court of law. I'll be long gone with your stuff.
Oh, well, you're committing an indictable offence under the Victorian Crimes Act of 1959, so I'm going to arrest you.
Oh man, I just confessed on recording tape as well. I am a not wise criminal.
Oh, well, this is the weirdest thing. Alex, what are you doing here?
I have a really good knock-knock joke.
Do you?
Yeah, knock-knock.
Who's there?
John.
John who?
John the Baptist.
Oh, God, I was not expecting that.
Gotta be honest, I was not expecting it to be a good knock-knock joke. And then it was. There you go.
You can also do Sue and then do tsunami, and then, well, for me, we like spit water on each other.
That's gross. Is it just like you take a sip and then do it, or you just spit?
Yeah. Or like you'd like have a water bottle and you go tsunami and then you just do it quick. Oh yeah, if they're drinking, you're like tsunami, then you squish the bottle on their face. Just whatever works. Normally, when I do that joke, I'm like
Just-
wakeboarding, so I like it's just lake water and I just spit it at them. Or I just like wave it at them. Like splash them.
You're both in the water.
Yeah.
And you just go, here's the punchline.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or just spit it on. Doesn't matter. You just jump under the water.
Yeah, you just do whatever you do for the joke,
Do
right?
the old swimmeroo.
Swimmeroo.
Sorry for making you wet.
That's all right.